So problem number 38 says I want the standard form of the equation of a circle. And what they're giving me is this graph right here. And you know what? I am not Mr. LeBron. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to make a circle. Right? Mr. LeBron makes perfect circles, right?
Yeah. That's not fair.
All right. And I'm told that I have a center of the circle, and I have a point right here at 7, 4, and another point here at 1, 4. Put those in parentheses. Okay. So standard form of the equation of a circle. Let's look in the back there, or put it on your formula card. That would be x minus h squared. Is that plus? Plus, yes,
X
okay.
minus h squared plus
Y,
y minus k squared equals r squared.
r squared. Excellent.
That's the standard form.
Standard form of the equation of a circle.
Thank you.
Okay? So HK represents the center of my circle, right? So I could find the center of my circle in a couple of ways. One thing I could do is I could use the midpoint formula, right? Which would be, if we can use the midpoint formula, I would have x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, excuse me, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So let's just kind of follow that out a little bit. So x1 plus x2 would be 1 plus 7, 1 plus 7 divided by 2, comma, and y2 would be 4 plus 4, 4 plus 4 divided by 2. So that's telling me that the center of my circle should be 4, 4, correct? Right? 8 divided by 2 and 8 divided by 2. That should be the center of my circle. Did everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yes? Yes, Charlie.
Divided by 2 because that's the formula, right?
That's the formula for the midpoint formula.
Okay.
That's right. Of course, the other way I could have done it was I could have just looked at my picture here, and I can see that I know this is a diameter going across, and they're both at y equals 4, so I know that the center of my circle is going to have the same y value, right? I know that the center is going to be 4. And I know if I have an x value at 1 and an x value at 7, well, kind of like right in between there is 4, right? 3 points either way. So I could have just done it from the graph as opposed to just doing it from the formula. But either way, I'm going to get the center of 4, 4. So we're beginning to fill in our formula here. If I know the center is HK. So now I have x minus 4 squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to r squared. Well, I could go through all the rigmarole to find my r by using the distance formula, but looking at something like this, I think I would just prefer to count. Right? Because I know it's on the same horizontal, so I'm going from 4 to 7, which is 3, or I could look at the other way, from 4 to 1 is 3. So r squared is, r is going to be 3. So r is equal to 3. So I'm going to have x minus 4 squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to 9. And that is the standard form of the equation of this circle. Yes, it is. It's a very small problem, huh? It says, find the equation of a circle in standard form where C is the point 6, comma, negative 2, and D is the point negative 4, 4. And what it's telling me about C and D is that they are endpoints of a diameter. Okay? So if I'm going to Let's see if I can't draw a picture real quick here. My point C is at 6, -2 right there. And my point D is at, excuse me, -4, 4 right there. So I'm going to have a pretty big circle. I don't even know if I can make this circle here. But we'll try it. Maybe I should go call Mr. LeBron. Right? But this circle is going to look kind of like,
Oh, that was good.
that's not too bad, huh?
That was good.
Okay, not too bad. There's 1 point, there's another point. And those are the endpoints of a diameter. Okay? This is not to scale. This is inaccurate graphing, but it is really nice to have a picture in my head as to what this is going to look like. Okay? So those are endpoints of a diameter. We good with that? So this is point C, this is point C, and this is point D. All right. So if I know that that's a diameter, what I would really like to find, because I need to write this in, what form is it I have to write it in?
Standard.
I have to write it in standard form, because I want to find the center, right? Because my standard form, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. And if I can find the midpoint of a diameter, then that's the center, right?
Yes.
That's why the picture is so helpful to me, is because if I was just looking at the problem, my first approach to this problem was actually to calculate the distance between C and D, and then figure out, well, what's half that distance, and then try and figure out, the formula. But I went that route for a little while, and I said, wait a minute, that's kind of lame. That's a lot of extra work. I can just find I can find the midpoint of this. Maybe it be a lot easier, right? And the midpoint of the diameter is going to be the radius. Everybody understand that, right?
Yeah.
And it was drawing the picture that solved that for me. Okay. So midpoint, midpoint formula. Let's write it. Midpoint formula. X1 plus X2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So my x's are 6 and -4. So 6 plus -4 divided by 2 is going to be my x, part of my midpoint, and my y is going to be -2 plus 4 divided by 2. So my midpoint is going to be, this is 2 over 2, and this is, well, lo and behold, 2 over 2. So my midpoint is going to be 1, 1, which actually almost looks like that, but not quite, right? But so my midpoint is really going to be 1, 1. Okay, that's my center. That's pretty nice. So I'm halfway there now. So I have, I now know x minus 1 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to r squared. Right? Because I know my center. I know what my center is because I did the midpoint of my diameter. Are we okay with that? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Okay, so now what I need to figure out is, well, what's my radius? Here I need to use the distance formula. I need to know what is the distance from 1, 1 to either point C or point D. If I know the distance from 1, 1 to point C or point D, then I'll know what my radius is. And let's clone this page. Okay, and now I can kind of go back up to the top, and I can erase my midpoint stuff. Delete that. Okay, so now I can do my distance formula over here, and we can see it right next to our circle. So my distance formula is the distance from P1 to P2. Pardon me? The distance from point 1 to point 2 is the square root of x x2 minus, I don't know, x2, yeah, minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. That's my distance formula. Yes?
Why would we need to use the distance formula if we already found the mid? Or the radius?
Because how am I going to know what the radius is?
Isn't that the radius? I mean, the center.
That's the center.
Center. But that's what I meant. Why can't you plug in one of the points on the circle into the equation of the standard equation of the formula and then solve that for R? You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying plug in, so you have your, just plug in one of the plug in like 6 and negative 2 and solve that for R?
Uh-huh. With the 1 as HK.
Boy, you know something, Amori? That is a really good idea. And you know something else? This is really interesting. That's exactly what we're doing.
Oh.
Using the distance formula is doing that exact thing, isn't it?
Oh.
That's pretty nifty.
That's so weird.
Yeah, okay. So Amori says, why don't I just take, I have these points 6 and negative 2 and negative 4 and 4, right? So why don't I just pick one of those points and plug it over here into the formula right here, right? And because I know what my h is, my h is 1 and my k is 1. So why don't I just pick 6 and negative 4, 6 over here and negative 4 over there, right? 6 and negative 2, thank you. 6 over here and negative 2 over here. And then solve for r, right? And but that's exactly what we're doing here. Is that, well, I'll just show you here. So let's use my, excuse me, my x2 as the 6, right? From that point there. And I'll use the x1, because I have to use the center as my other part to figure out the radius, so that is minus 1 squared plus, and I'll go for my y value is negative 2 minus 1 squared. Did everybody follow me there?
Yes.
What I'm doing, right? I'm just using the distance formula for this point here and for the center. Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah. So this is going to give me 5 squared plus negative 3 squared, which is going to be 25 plus 9. Is that right?
Yes.
Which is 34. Is that right? Yes, it is. It's 34. Right? But I have to take the square root of it, because that's what my distance formula says. Which, if I had done what Amori said and made the same plug-in here and had it to be equal to r squared, I would have to take the square root of it anyways to get r, right?
Yes.
Does that make sense? I'm losing some people here.
Yeah.
All right, so the answer to this question, just so we get all the way to the bottom here, is r is equal to radical 34. So the answer to the equation has to be r squared. So it is x minus 1 squared plus y minus 1 squared, r squared. So radical 34 squared would be 34. And that is the answer to the question.